the positive for me, Jack Butland was outstanding. Again, I think he's been really good so far this season. Such a tough spell last season, obviously, when he eventually got dropped by Barry Ferguson. His standards for his first year at Rangers had obviously dipped. Last season there was a lot of mistakes, but whatever he's done over the summer, whether it be physical or mental, he seems to have come back, looking back to his kind of best again, doesn't he?
I mean, for me, it's sort of harks back to that first season here when the team got off to a really poor start, and you felt, had it not been for Jack Butland at that stage, goodness, it could have been even worse. And you've got to say, but not for Jack Butland last night, a 3-goal lead could have been, overturned. I mean, that was, we're going to talk about the performance, but just the sheer volume of chances that Victoria Pilsen were allowed to rack up.
27 shots.
Yeah, I mean, it's a major concern, and if you've not got a goalkeeper who's absolutely at it, then the fault lines in this Rangers team would be creaking wide open.
What impressed me about Butland last night was, first of all, his handling in general was good. First half there was a lot of kind of aerial
off his line, quite strong with it.
Yeah. He was very good. Secondly, he pulled off one unbelievable save for Adu towards the end. Yep. I think actually TV cameras might contradict him here. I thought he had a brilliant save
in the first half.
No, in the second half. For boy that shot for that kind of acute angle, and the ref just gave a by kick. And I thought Butland got a touch on it.
I thought there was one in the first half that the ball sort of moved, and he was sort of moving the wrong way, and he sort of punched it out. I mean,
but also he's kicking, and
which has been one of the major detractions of him since he's been here. He's never looked quite comfortable on the ball.
And also there was question marks when Russell Martin came in as to whether Jack Butland was going to be good enough to fit into a Russell Martin team, because we know that he needs his keeper basically to play as a sweeper or a quarterback at times. It's the keeper a lot of the time that builds the attack. And certainly last night, tactically, Rangers had come up with a ploy when Butland had the ball. So a bit of movement to create a bit of space, to drag Pilsen's players out wide. And then Butland was firing it into normally Dessers up front who couldn't really hold it up well enough. Or even Antman would kind of drift infield and pick up Butland's passes. So I thought the keeper was really good. And there was actually, I don't know if you noticed, that there was a point in the second half where he launched a couple of balls into an area. And it looked as if he'd just done it aimlessly because nobody got onto him. But he was absolutely raging. He was shouting across to the technical area where the manager was, his arms wide, as if to say, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. There
was a ball he played in the first half for Kisama, so he basically just played it over the top. It looks like a long, aimless punt, but it was a long pass he was trying. He just overcooked it ever so slightly. But Russell Martin was sort of keen to point out last night that Jack Butland, John Souttar, Nasser Jiga, they all did what was asked of them last night. They took risks, and it was the guys in front of them that would time and time let them down just by the failure to hold on to the ball and secure possession. But as I said, it's the bravery. There were definitely times where Butland was standing there waiting to be pressed. He's doing what Russell Martin's asking him. He's inviting the pressure, and who could ever have imagined Jack Butland being asked to play, as you say, that sort of quarterback role? But he was definitely having to do something along those lines.
And ultimately, when that doesn't come off, and a lot of the times last night it didn't come off because, as you say, the guys in front weren't good enough, weren't at it. That's ultimately why they're facing 27 shots, because if these passes get cut out, there's a lot of times John Souttar is trying to kind of thread balls through or fizz balls into either a midfielder or a striker, and that's exactly what the manager wants. But if people aren't the same wavelength, or aren't ready for it, or aren't in the same position, and it doesn't come off, it makes John Souttar look bad, and also Butland ends up having to make a save, or they end up having to defend in their own box. So I suppose that's what Russell Martin's been getting at every time we speak to him, about the learning and the process and trying to get better, trying to improve.